Well, Sabbath greetings to everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic week. I'm sure you're all geared up and ready for a wonderful Sabbath. It is the Sabbath here. Since the Sabbath is here about 4:30 now, we're plunging into the Sabbath even earlier than before, since daylight savings time last weekend. So I wanted to just mention I appreciate everyone so much who were there for the live Bible study this past Wednesday evening. It was so nice. We had a great turnout for that. I could see you all chatting and signing in that way, so I knew you were out there. I know many of you don't have the opportunity Wednesday night, but you will listen to them later on. And it's just nice to have that opportunity, even if it's just chatting on the chat function at the Bible study. It's just nice to have that in the middle of the week. I definitely want to try to get back on a regular, at least monthly schedule for the Bible studies. I'd like to be able to do more than that, but we'll see how that goes. For now, I'll commit to monthly, and then we'll go from there. But I did want to just mention, I had the chance to mention this briefly in the Bible study, the announcements before we got started, that the TWP went incredibly well. There's an announcement in the World Ahead update this week, but for those of you that were there, you know how well it went. The rest of you, trust me, it was very, very encouraging. It shattered all my expectations. We had 47 subscribers show up, and it was very, very exciting. Not only just the number, but the quality of the people that were there. It was really, really exciting. And so we'll see what the future holds for that area. We want to continue to serve in that area, and with the subscriber base that's there and the current co-workers and that sort of thing. We definitely want to serve that area and see what happens there in the future. But appreciate your prayers for the TWP, and also for continuing wisdom and knowing how to best serve the area and all of the subscriber base there in that area. Very interesting article that I mentioned that I noticed here today. Boy, the media is really, really jumping all over this recent report that came out. The New York Post, here's another one from the LA Times. I'm sure if I searched I could find more and more, because here's a couple of the headlines from the LA Times. Religion doesn't make kids more generous or altruistic, study finds. The other one from the New York Post says, this is the headline, if you raise your kids with religion, they're likely to be judgmental jerks. Both of those are dated November 6th, just today. So they're jumping all over this recent study that was reported on in Current Biology. And it's talking about this study that went on with, I don't know what the sample was, probably, I think it said somewhere, it was less than 1,200. It was more than 1,000 is the way they reported on it. From ages 5 to 12 from Canada, China, Jordan, Turkey, the U.S., and South Africa. So they tried to get a sampling from virtually all over the world. But, you know, is that really fair? I mean, listen to that. The secular folks will really be happy to see that headline. If you raise your kids with religion, they're likely to be judgmental jerks. Is that true? Of course not. I wanted to quote here from somebody that didn't agree with the findings at all. This was a Reverend, what was this guy's name? Hughes. Anyway, this is how he put it. He said, let's see. It's very interesting here. He said that there are two types of religion. This is from this individual here who said there were two types of religion. Intrinsic religion, where somebody has made the commitment inside themselves, and extrinsic religion, where people are more focused on the social practices. So, you know, I think the point that he makes here, I think, is very true, that too much of religion today is not an intrinsic type of religion. People are not really committed and devoted to a doctrinal foundation, which is what faith is. Faith is not just believing. Faith is actually defined as your whole system and way of living. It's a whole system of belief. It includes, you know, the things you do, the way you live your life, the changes that you make. And so what that report is actually finding is just based on current religion. I think it's very it's very interesting to see that most people, they're there for extrinsic reasons. You know, they like the social aspect of it. They like the networking that you can do at church and that sort of thing. But actually changing their lives and living by, you know, faith in a belief system, doctrinal stances, doctrinal, you know, findings, things that they've proven. That's not what we find in religion today at all. So, you know, is this report, it's very telling. I think it's very telling, sure. And we have to live this. We have to, you know, in terms of what these kids are facing, you know, are they really being changed, and are they growing from the religion that their family practices? Well, they're smart enough to see their parents, you know, go to church and act a certain way, and then they see them acting at home a different way, or they see them acting during the week in a very different way. And so no, they're not being changed. They're not getting the right example, and that trickles down to the kids, and perhaps that's very true. You know, they tend to be more judgmental, and so, you know, what true religion is religion that is internalized. We're living by it. We're setting an example for our children. We're teaching our children a way of life, a faith, a system of beliefs that they're living by, and we are exemplifying that for them. We're giving them something to emulate in caring for other people, and getting rid of the selfish way of life that we see in so much, even in professing religion today. We see too much of that. And so, you know, I think it follows too what Dr. Meredith has always said, and that is, you know, to the degree that you apply biblical principles, really apply them, to the degree that you do that is the degree that you will be blessed, your family, the community, nationally. You know, that's very true. And so if those people really aren't trying to live by those principles and changing their lives, then is that kind of example, is that going to affect their family and their community? You know, it has to be internalized. And that's very true for us when we see these types of things. We want to make sure we are setting a right example for the world, that we're lights and shining to our children and helping them to emulate that example that we have, the perfect example, the perfect light of Jesus Christ. We're trying to actually live that way of life. So anyway, very interesting to see what the media is doing with that particular research, and basically denigrating and vilifying and making very light of religion, which today, yes, most religion needs an overhaul. Of course, we know that true religion is coming to the world at the return of Jesus Christ. But right now, we're supposed to be setting that example and being a light in that way. So anyway, I hope you have a fantastic Sabbath wherever you plan to keep it. We are planning on being in the Dells of Wisconsin for services this Sabbath, so we'll look forward to seeing the brethren there, and the rest of you we'll see in the weeks ahead. I love you all. Thank you for your prayers. I'm praying for you. Have a great Sabbath, and we'll talk again real soon.